Hello guys, my name is Krish Naik and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, we are going to continue the discussion with respect to end-to-end machine learning project implementation. And in this video, we will be discussing about creating the prediction pipeline, right? So in our previous video, in our previous sections, what we have done is that we have trained our model, and with respect to that, artifacts have created. We have our two pickle file. One is this model.pickle, preprocessor.pickle. We completed the model trainer part. We did hyperparameter tuning. We got the best model, and then finally, now we need to implement the prediction pipeline. Now understand why this prediction pipeline is important, because this is the most important part. Right now I will try to create a web application, right? A simple web application which will be interacting with this kind of pickle files, with respect to any input data that we give. Okay, so let's say in our web application we will be having a form where we will be giving all our input data that is required for predicting the student performance, and then we'll just click on submit. Internally in the backend will capture that data, and that data needs to probably interact with this preprocessor.pickle, model.pickle, and then we will try to see that whether we are able to get the prediction or not. So all these things is basically going to happen in this particular session. We are going to focus on the prediction pipeline. Okay, so to begin with, what we are basically going to do is that first of all, I will go ahead and create our app.py. Okay, so and in this we will be using specifically, if I consider, we will basically be using a Flask app itself, right? We'll be considering using Flask. So first of all, I will go ahead and create my app.py file. Now, as soon as we create this app.py, remember the folder structure, what all things we did. Now this we will be making sure that we will again follow the pipeline structure, the modular programming structure, and then we'll try to develop it. Now in the app.py, the first thing I'm going to import pickle, because I may be requiring to load the pickle, load the data set itself. Over here also fine. If I don't want to do it, I can actually do it in the prediction pipeline also. But along with this, I will just go and import Flask. So I'll write from Flask, import Flask, and then along with this I will be also using request, so that any post request I'll be able to capture through it. And along with this I will also be importing render template. Now apart from that, I'm going to import numpy as np. Now see guys, all these things that we have learned, right? So easy it is, step by step, if you actually follow things, right? Otherwise you will not be able to follow it. Trust me, because project is not just done in one day. It takes time, right? So finally I have my pandas also. Okay, again that same problem is coming. Okay, so I will just write pd. Okay, import pandas as pd, and then I will go ahead and write from sklearn. Okay, I don't need to import sklearn also over here. So what I will do is that I will just say, okay, from sklearn I will do pre-processing, and I'll import the standard scalar. The reason why I'm doing it, because I will try to use that particular pickle file. Okay, so I will go ahead and write standard scalar. If you remember guys, all these things, all these libraries needs to be written in the requirement.txt. So that is the reason I'm easily being able to import each and everything over here. Okay, now what we will going to do is that along with this, I also have to use this training pipeline. Now understand one very important thing. Inside this source right now, we have a file inside pipeline which is called as predict pipeline and training pipeline, right? So with respect to the predict pipeline, I'm going to probably see how we can do the prediction also, right? So first of all, the prediction part, I really need to create it. And then later on, we'll see that whether in this video it can be accommodated. Otherwise, I'll create a next video where we'll focus on creating a training pipeline. So in this pipeline, we'll focus on creating the prediction pipeline. Initially, I told you we'll be creating the prediction pipeline. No. So let's focus on creating the prediction pipeline. Okay. So what I'm going to do, we'll go and start with app.py. Now here I have basically imported each and everything. Now I will go and create my app, and I'll just say, let me just go ahead and create this application name. Okay, so let's just write application. Okay, application, is equal to, and I have to probably create a Flask app. So this will be my Flask app, and here I will write underscore underscore name. So here the Flask underscore underscore name will basically give us the entry point where we need to execute it. Let me just go ahead and probably create this particular variable and assign it to app, okay? Because later on we need to create the route and all. So first of all, we will just create a route for a home page, okay, quickly. And here I will say app.route, and what we are going to basically do, just create a bracket just like a home page. And here I'm going to define my index. So if you don't know about Flask, you can definitely refer my playlist. I've explained everything related to Flask. There's a separate playlist over there in my YouTube channel. Just search for it. And then from here, I'm just going to do the return render template to index.html. Okay. So done. This is my index. Now the next thing that I'm actually going to do, let's test this whether this is working fine, and I hope it will be working fine. But before that, when we use this render index.html, it will just go and search for the template folder. And right now we don't have this template folder. So I will just go ahead and create my template folder. So it should be templates. Okay. Please make sure that the naming convention is correct over here. Otherwise you will be getting an error. And finally I had my index.html. Now in index.html, I will just give some welcome to the home page, something like this. Okay. To the home page. Guys, understand I'm not that interested in probably creating the UI part and all. Okay, that was the work of the front-end engineer. But just to make it very much simple, I'm just writing all these things. Okay, so let's see this. Okay, perfect. Now this is done. I have my index.html. Now I'll go back to my app.py. Now the next thing that I'm going to write, I'll write app.route, and inside this we are going to make some prediction. So here I will write predict data. Okay, and the methods that is going to support is basically my get, comma, post, right? So two method it is basically going to support as we usually write. And here I'm just going to write my predict definition as predict data point. Okay, so guys, remember the prerequisite is that you really need to know Flask about this. Now inside this predict underscore data point, I will be doing everything, probably getting my data, and then probably doing the prediction, everything over here. Okay, so first of all I will write if my request, okay, if my request dot method is equal to, which method it may be basically post, right? So here I have to use double equal to, or if it is get, then what we need to do, if it is get, so if it is basically get, I will probably just do one very simple thing, that is return a render template, and I will return a default home page. Okay, so I'll say home.html, not index.html. Index.html is the home by default, and this will basically be my home.template, right? Home.html. Now what will be there in this home.html? The simple input data fields that we really need to provide to our model to do the prediction. Okay, so that will basically be there in this home.html. In the else part, I will basically say, otherwise instead of get, if it is not get, then it will be post, right? So here I will just say, right now I will just write pass. Okay, because I'm going to probably write this entire thing over here, because in the post part, right, I have to probably capture the data, I have to do the standard scaling or feature scaling, and then I have to do the prediction. Okay, so to begin with, what I'm going to do, inside my template folder, right, I'll create another file which will be like home.html. right? Now inside this home.html, I have already created one simple home.html. Okay, I'll just copy this entire HTML. That basically means it is just telling you to probably talk about all the fields that you have, right? So whatever fields we are selecting, like whatever inputs features that you have done, right? In drop down, I've just written that particular code in the HTML. Okay, not that very difficult. Just by seeing the output, you'll be able to understand it. For right now, this home.html is simple HTML file which has all the data available over here. Okay, now two things that you need to do over here. One is the form action. Inside this form action, you'll just write URL underscore for, and you will call the same data point, so same function that is present over here. See, predict underscore data point. So you'll be calling that same function over here, and the method will be post. So that is how when we do the post from that particular page, the request will come over here and we'll be able to understand whether it is a get or a post. Okay. Now for the get, it is fine. Okay, again, I'm telling you guys, this home.html is just a simple page, HTML page with all the fields. Okay, I don't have to worry about it because at the end of the day, this will be designed by the front end team. Okay, so just for practice sake, I'm giving you this. This is nothing but it is just having some fields. You can consider in that way. Now in the app.py, what we are going to do in the else section, suppose if it is a post request, now here we will start creating our data. Now for creating a data, I will first of all create my own custom class. Okay, custom data. Now this is where your inside the source folder, right? We created a pipeline, and inside this predict pipeline was there, right? So that same function, that same class will actually be created over here. Okay, let me just show you how it will look like. Okay, so here in this predict pipeline, initially I will just import sys for my exception handling. Okay, and then I will write import pandas as pd, import pandas as pd. Okay, then I'm going to probably go ahead and write from src dot exception. Okay, exception import custom exception. Okay, so all import, I'm importing the custom exception. This is good. Now from the next thing, I will just say from source.utils src.utils, I'm also going to import one function which is called as load object, just to load our pickle file. Okay, so all these things I have imported it over here. Now the first class that I'm going to create for my prediction pipeline is like predict pipeline. Okay, this will basically be the name. The initial thing over here will be my init function. Right now in init function, I don't want to initialize anything. Okay, so here I will just write self, and this will basically be pass. Okay, now by default empty constructor. Now the next thing that we are probably going to do over here is that this will basically be for my prediction pipeline. Now here I will create my class, which is my custom data. Now understand what is the importance of this custom data class. The custom data class will be responsible in mapping all the inputs that we are giving in the HTML to the backend with this particular values. Okay, so here that is the reason I'm using this custom data. And here initially I will just write dev underscore init underscore. Now you know that what all features we are specifically going to use. So I'm just going to write all the features that will be used over here, right? So I'm going to say gender I require as my input feature, race, ethnicity, parental level, lunch, test preparation, reading score, writing score. So this reading score and writing score should also be an integer value. Okay, so this should also be an integer value. Okay, if I probably talk about this test preparation, it should be string. So let me go ahead and write string. And this lunch should also be string. Parental level, it's okay if you don't want to provide this values also, it is fine. Okay, but just for our sake, just to understand, we are giving all these things. Okay, so here I will just write comma. Now this definition int, I'm just writing it over here. Now all I'll be doing, creating a variable by using self. Okay, so here I will just press enter, and this will basically be my self. Okay, now what I'm doing over here, self.gender, self.race and ethnicity, race, ethnicity. I'm just assigning all these values. Once we assign this, right, what will happen is that these values are basically coming from my web application, right? So if you go and see in my home.html, see over here I have used gender, right? Same name will be getting mapped over there. Whatever value we select either male or female, that particular value will go ahead in that specific variable, right? Similarly, all the other things are available over here. Whatever group I'm selecting, these all values will be going over here. Okay, now this was with respect to let me close this predict pipeline. So all these things we are basically done. Now let me create one important function. Initially we have initialized this. Over here I will write definition get underscore data underscore as underscore frame. Okay, so what I'm doing is that as underscore data underscore frame. So I'm creating a function. Now what this function will do is that it will just return all my input in the form of a data frame, because we trained our model in the form of a data frame, right? So what I will do over here is that I'll create a variable with try catch, and I'll create a dictionary, right? Something like this. Now see, now in this dictionary I have gender, is equal to self.gender. Then I have race ethnicity, which is nothing but self.ethnicity, parental level of education, self.this, self.that, and then we are returning the pd.data frame as my data frame, right? So this, in short, what is basically going to happen is that from my website, right, from my web application, whatever inputs I'm probably giving, that same inputs will get assigned, will get mapped with this particular value. Okay. All these things I could have also done in app.py, but since we are now learning completely end-to-end project in the modular way, so that is the reason we are using this specific predict underscore pipeline. Okay. So this particular method is basically done. We are very much good to go now. Now, along with this, inside this predict pipeline, right, I will create one more function which is called as predict. Okay. So this predict will basically load my, so here I'm going to give my features, whatever features it is there. This predict is just like my model prediction pipe. What it is basically doing the prediction, right? So let's go ahead, and what I will be doing is that first of all, you know that how many pickle files I have, right? One is the preprocessor pickle file and one is the model.pickle file. So here I'm going to basically give my model path. So here will be my model path, and here I will write artifacts slash model.pickle. Okay. And along with this, I will just write preprocessor. Now this preprocessor is responsible in handling the categorical features, for doing the feature scaling, everything, right? So here I will just say preprocessor underscore path is equal to artifacts slash preprocessor dot pickle, right? So here I have all these things, and then I will just load the model saying that model load underscore object. And right now I've not created this function. We'll create this function. See, load underscore object, and I'll just give my file path, and I'll say that file underscore path. Okay. With the model underscore path. Now what we are doing over here is that we are basically calling this load object function. Now this load object is nothing but it will just import the pickle, and probably it will just load the pickle file, in short. Okay. So there, where you know where this should be created, right? It should basically be created where? So if I go inside my source, it should be created in the utils, right? So I have my component, I have my pipeline. Here is my utils.py, right? So I already have this utils.py. So quickly I will just go ahead and copy and paste it. So for doing that, I will just import. It's just a 3-liner function, guys. So here it is. So what this load object is basically doing, I think there is some indentation issue. No worries. Let me just copy it once again so that the indentation issue is not there. We'll start it from here and done, right? So here I have created my own definition of this load underscore object. What this is doing, it is just opening that file path in read byte mode, and it is loading the pickle file by using this DIL. So that is the reason we had imported this DIL. Okay. So that is what it is doing. So this load object is responsible in loading the pickle file. So that is the reason we have written in utils.py. The reason we have written in utils.py, so that this is a common functionality throughout the entire project. So now if I probably go into my predicts.py pipeline, so the model path has been loaded over here, and we will also be able to probably load the preprocessor path also. So here I will again copy the entire code, the same code over here, and paste it with respect to this, and this will basically be my preprocessor. I can basically write preprocessor. Okay. Preprocessor load object file model path will be preprocessor path. Okay, done. Now once we load this, now you know what we need to do first. We need to scale the data. So I will write data is data underscore scaled is nothing but I will say preprocessor dot transform, right? And it will basically transform what? It will transform my features, right? So done. This is done. And after transforming the features, the next thing is that my model will just do the prediction. So I will write model dot predict my data underscore scaled, right? So this will basically be my prediction, PREDS. Okay. And then we just need to return this prediction. Okay. So step by step, we have done this. Along with this, you know, I can probably include a try catch block. So quickly I will do that also. So I'll say try so that if any exception is basically coming, we have to be really curious. We have to be really afraid of the exceptions, right? If exceptions are not coming, then something is wrong. Okay. So here is the thing. And then here I will go ahead and write my except exception as E. And then I'm going to basically raise our custom exception. And here I'm going to write E comma sys. Done. So exception, I've raised it. I've created a predict function. I have created the mapping variables mapping function, probably to get into the form of a data frame. Everything is done. Home.html, app.py. Now in app.py, what I will do is that again, here only I will be calling the custom data. Now custom data, if I really want to call, first of all, I need to import from src dot whether it is in the pipeline or components. So I will write pipeline dot inside the pipeline, it is basically predict pipeline import. Okay, so here we are basically going to import the custom data. Okay, the another thing that we need to import over here is predict pipeline. Okay, so two things we need to import. So first of all, I'll try to make my custom data. Now in that, the custom data is very simple, guys. The same thing that we have probably done, right? We will try to just read this all the values, right? So here what I'm doing, I'm reading all the gender by using request.form.get. See, when we do the post, this request will have the entire information, right? So here we'll write request.form.get or gender, then I'll get the gender information, then I'll get the ethnicity, then I'll get the parental level, then I'll get the lunch, then test preparation course, then probably I'll get the writing score and reading score. So all these data points we will be getting over here. Okay, after we get the data points, now what we can basically do is that my prediction data point df is nothing but I will basically write data dot get data as data frame. So I need to probably convert this entire data set into a data frame, and this function is basically present in my predict underscore data underscore pipeline. So here only what we are basically calling this. So this will basically return my entire data frame. So I got my data frame over here. The next thing over here is that you can also print and see how your prediction data frame looks like. And then what I'm going to do, I'm basically going to initialize my predict underscore pipeline. I will go and create my predict underscore pipeline, and here I will define my predict pipeline, right? So I will initialize my predict pipeline, and this will then call dot. First of all, I will just go ahead and hit my predict function. Now, once I call my predict function, here I will give my data frame. Now, as soon as I call the predict function, it will go to this function, right? It will go to which function? It will basically go to this function. And here, first of all, the transformation will happen, then the prediction will be happen, and I'll be getting all the predictions over here, right? So I'll go back to my app.py, and here, this will basically be my results. Okay. So let's go ahead and return render underscore template. And here will be my home.html. I have to just return the output, right? So this will be results is equal to the results of 0, right? Because this will basically be in the list format, right? All the values will be returned over here. This is done. We are good to go with respect to this app.py. Now the next thing over here is that we need to read this value over here in my home.html. So here you will be seeing I've created an h2 tag and I've written the prediction is this result value, right? So I will just go and copy and paste it. Okay. So I finally got this results value over here. So the prediction will be output will be given over here, right? So yes, almost completed. Finally, I will just run this app.py, and in order to run it, I will just use this. Done. If underscore name is equal to underscore name, I will just use app.run of host address this one. This is basically just going to map it with 127.0.1. Okay, with debug is equal to true. Done. So let's run this. I think this is my prediction pipeline created, guys. I know, right? So many things we did. We have an HTML page, everything and all. So now it's time that we run this and see our 1 week of effort was successful or not. So I will just minimize this. I will open my terminal. Okay. So by default, my terminal, let's see, it should be inside my V and V environment. So let me just clear my screen. CLS. Okay. And now I will go ahead and write Python app.py. So when this thing is getting executed, you will be able to see this. Now I will just go and probably create a HTML. Just let's call this, okay? So I will write 127.0.1 and by default the port is 5000. So if I execute this with the home page, now everything is working fine. It is showing welcome to the home page. Now let's do one thing over here, is that quickly, just a second. So finally you'll be able to see, let's call this function /predict data. Okay, so for calling the /predict data, I will go over here. I will write /predict data. Now see how it looks like, right? So this is what I'm not done any decoration, but the main thing is that I need to give this field. Okay, so gender I'll get male, group A, bachelor degree, free, reduced, whatever, none. Score I will give something. Okay, let's see, some score I will be giving. Okay, oops, some score I will be giving. Completed, and then I will do the prediction. So once I predict it, now you can see the prediction is 65.625. So the math score that it is being able to predict is somewhere around 65.625, right? Isn't it good? We have done it right. So congratulations guys. And see over here, your data frame is also getting printed, right? So this was more about the prediction pipeline. Now there is some very good news for you all. I will be covering every different types of pipeline with respect to deployment and all, right? So here we have created the predict_pipeline, that is prediction pipeline. How to predict with respect to the data points whenever we give a new data points from a web app, how to do it. One additional thing you can also do is that you can also use Postman, right? So using Postman also you can do it. Just let's see how many of you can do this Postman work. You can probably create an API. Yes, I can also do this with Postman, give my post request in the form of one JSON format and probably do the prediction. Okay. So yes, this was it. The next thing that I want you all from is that try to complete this training pipeline, right? So yes, this was it guys. I hope you like this particular video. Before I close the session, I will just quickly do one thing. Okay, I will just try to commit all the code. So I will write git commit, git add dot. Okay, so I'll say git commit -m, and here I will just write prediction pipeline. So done, all the things is done over here, right? This looks good. Okay, so I will write git push -u origin to main. So the push is done and we are up. This was it from my side. I hope you like this particular video. If you like it, please do make sure that you subscribe my channel, subscribe my Hindi channel also, and share with all your friends. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you. Take care. Have a great day.